everyone, and today we have with us Mr. Nitin Mirajkar sir, who in his past have helped around 1,000 plus students uh, to help them learn abroad, go abroad, and complete all the formalities. So even before starting in to the our main session, I would ask Nitin sir, if you see currently there is an ongoing crisis between in Ukraine and Russia, where a lot of Indian students are stuck up, right? So
Yeah,
what is your take on that, and how do you think that would affect students going abroad?
thanks Abhishek. Thanks for inviting me for this small session, basically on overseas education. Uh, yes, there has been issue where our children look out to go abroad for higher studies. It will be ongoing process. These are not the reasons where the education is not proper in India or anything like that. Yes, but somewhere or the other, when we talk on a broader version, some of our children think of going abroad for a number of series of reasons. Like for example, some of these countries where our students go. I mean to say, the clients go. They go only because of seeing them as a developed countries. Whenever we portray India as a country where our students go abroad, we always think it is a developing country, not as a developed country. So when these differences come in their mindset, and these differences come in the mindset not now or maybe today, tomorrow, immediately when we have this session, or maybe when these children are in their final year on the verge of going. These are some of the thought processes that the students take it very early in their age, or maybe after their 12th standard they think of going abroad for higher studies, only because education standards are high, per capita income is high, large economy. These are some of the main criteria where normally the students thinks a lot, and that is what he thinks it, that I can outclass everyone and go abroad and come. There is always a vision where students go abroad, stick for some time, and maybe stay there only, or there are some students who educate there and come back and do. Ukraine thing, what you have told is basically Ukraine is an hub. Ukraine or Georgia or any neighboring state is an hub for medical students, only because it is a developed country, but the economy is doing good somewhere or the other. But when you talk about currency and all, it has a very low currency where it is feasibly observable for all our students. They can observe that fees. That is one thing where we look at students going abroad, especially
We
Ukraine
have
and
to be
Georgia
very
and all
particular
this.
about the kind of countries we select before going.
Absolutely, absolutely. When I think about something about,
They get the country and they apply for that.
they apply for that. When we talk about medicine and something, these are the two states, Georgia and Ukraine, are the hub for medical, not only for Indian students, but the globe looks forward to that, only because it works out very cheaper for everyone, not only Indian students. Look at anyone. I mean to say, today Ukraine has a big educational tourism, when we think on a broader version, or
Okay.
Georgia or any of these neighboring one or two states. And the language also is not that barricade. There is an English speaking education that happens. So these are some things where students look out to go abroad.
Sure, sir. But then, very much before going into the deep, I would like to ask one of the fundamental questions when we talk about overseas education, right? And that is why we should study abroad, or why study abroad. Uh, and if you could throw some lights on it.
There are many things to this. I mean to say, as I already covered this answer, let me brief once more. The cost of studying abroad, other than these countries which we spoke now, is always high compared to our Indian education. If you talk about UK, US, Europe, or Australia, or anywhere, the fees are almost high. But yes, somewhere or the other, even when you look at the course module, they are more different than what we have here. Especially I am talking about your master's degree and your graduation, that is your undergraduation basically. So these are some of the courses where most of our students look forward for higher studies, and simultaneously the lifestyle, the global exposure that these people are getting, the connect these are getting, only because there, as the countries are less populated, you get socialized and you get into limelight very soon through some of the internship or some of the project works that you get involved into the university or a college. So this exposure, most of the children are aware if they are thinking of going abroad, and they aim it long. I'm to say are too early in the age.
Correct,
This is one of the broader aspects of our students who normally go.
but then when we talk about studying abroad, right, but then there is also a cost associated with that, right?
Yes,
Something in my mind, uh, that at least I should have minimum 30 lakh, 50 lakh, 80 lakh, 1 crore
absolutely, absolutely.
in studying.
You you're lost, Abhishek, in the middle.
Yeah. So just to put my question again. So what I was saying was, so when we say about studying abroad, right, there is always a cost associated with that, right?
Yeah.
So should I have a number, let us say 20 lakh, 30 lakh, 50 lakh, or 80 lakh, even before me thinking of studying abroad, and the various countries which I am choosing? Now, what is the cost, and what should be my parameters on which I decide how much budget is required for the same?
See, cost is always a part of education. Let it be in India or let it be abroad, anywhere. Studying abroad can be expensive, as we already has as everyone is aware of that. There are many scholarships that are associated. There are already a lot of grants that are associated with the universities when you apply. There are a lot of parameters that are considered when you apply for an higher education. And this education, when we talk, cost for an education differs from each and every university. So what is the scholarship that you are applying? And it is not only that you are applying before you go. There are some of the scholarships when you go there and you start with your major subjects. For that particular major subjects, if you excel, there are additional scholarships that are again released by the university or the country to you. So there is always ongoing scholarships that are available for your higher education abroad. But yes, all said and done, when we preferably talk about the cost, yes, the cost is high somewhere or the other. There are things where you should look at, part of sharing accommodation, or maybe something like, finding a casual or a part-time job. These are some things which you fulfill the gap in between.
Okay, but then at least what I can say, it should be a minimum budget irrespective of any country I am going, right? Is there a number
the
that I have to keep in my mind?
the average cost could be around roughly around 15 lakhs to 20 lakhs, to be precisely, as an 1 year program, anywhere
Okay.
that you go, precisely. But
So
somewhere or the other, yes, that amount, of that amount 50% can be generated from your scholarships, fellowships, or some of your internships, or maybe somewhere or the other a small part-time job could also release that particular amount. Unable to hear you.
yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah, if you could just pardon the last sentence about the investment.
See, the investment could be somewhere around 15 to 20 lakhs. That is one. And these 15 to 20 lakhs initially, yes, you do require this to pay the fees or something before you leave the country. I mean to say, at the time of visa and all processing. But yes, these fees, 50% of these somewhere or the other can be generated from your scholarships, fellowships, and internships. And simultaneously, uh, much of this fees amount that we tell that it is more today at the time of the payment of fees can be again reimbursed by you getting into a small job. That is
Mm-hmm.
the right way that you get into something at the early stage as you land foreign land.
Okay. Okay. So can we say that the initial we should at least have 15 to 20 lakh rupees in our
Yes,
mind before we starting, and then
before we
now based
start.
on various parameters like number of years I'm going to study, and then the course
Yes,
which I study, the parameter of cost may keep on varying,
keep
right?
on varying, absolutely.
Yes. Yes. So I'll just come to my next question, which says that, so now how to start with our overseas education, right? Basically, how to start with studying abroad. So where should I first look out for?
There is a process. Actually, there is a process, and it's basically a process of a long term going abroad. If you think of going now, anytime, it will at least take you 6 months down the line. It's a tedious process where basically uh, the application has to be sent to the university. I mean, it has to be applied, and for all that reason, we are available. We are there as a source where we will fulfill all the fulfillment of application from the university on behalf of you. We are the middleman for you, where we will be doing all the documentation part. It's a lengthy process, wherein lot of series of documents that are required once you start your procedure.
Okay. So you talked about there is a lengthy procedure of around 4 to 6 months. So if you could just give us some points that what is the overall process right from start to end. Like let us say I want to study my masters in computer science in, let us say, America, right? So now what is step one? And I feel the final step is where I land in America and start my university classes. So this is the
Step
overall
one.
step. If you could just give us the step by step process that how the overall system works during this 6 months and what all things has to be taken care of.
Step one is basically look out for a good counselor first. That is most important aspect of yours, is to look out for a good counselor. Once you find a good counselor, discuss with them on your specialization that you are going to do. Once you discuss about the specialization that you are going to do and the country that you are going to final, you then come to get into the particular university with that specialization whether you are getting. So this is very important initially when you talk about. Simultaneously, when you're discussing about your specialization in a particular university, you also discuss about your fee amount and see that whether this amount can be ready from your side, and then the process begins from the particular counselor or the organization that is helping out with you. And now that once you are finalized with your uh, institution and your program, that is your specialization, I mean to say, then we apply on behalf of you for a particular university. Can you hear me, Abhishek? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I lost you in last 15 seconds. We can start from there.
Yeah. See, once I mean to say, once the institution and the program is finalized by the student, what we do is we try to apply for that particular university for that particular program through a number of documentation from you. On behalf of you, we do that as an organization, as a third party organization. We do that. We are an consultancy, overseas consultancy organization, where we work on behalf of students only, because there are series of documentation, like that is what we are discussing now. Once you finalize that, then we get a list of documents from you, that is your degree certificates and a number of series, your LOR SOR, that is to be done. And once that is applied, once everything is done, you will get an unconditional offer. Immediately, if there is anything that is to be left out, you get a conditional offer. That is, condition is put that whether you need to get these particular certificates that are missing, or you'll get an unconditional offer where yes, all the documents are fulfilled from your side. Let's proceed for the admission. What do I mean by let's proceed for the admission? That is, boarding in is nothing but your fee process start begins here. The transfer of money begins here. Once the transfer of money begins here, we get we get a SAS from them. Once the SAS is released, the visa process begins. So this is the overall procedure. I mean to say, I can't elaborate more than this in this small session of discussion. But as and when the students come and we consult them, this is all there in that particular 4 to 6 months of procedure.
Great, great, sir. So, great, sir. So now let us say that once I reach on board, right, in the oral process, once I complete that oral processes and I reached board that. So how do I save money, right? Because a lot of students are, if you see, belong to middle class and upper middle class, right, who want to also save money while studying abroad. So do we have some opportunities related to that, and
We
how do we
do.
get that?
We think of applying to universities where we get some fellowships or we get some scholarships in some of these universities or colleges. There is a difference between a university, there is difference between a college. A college has a smaller programs, but a university has a longer programs. What I mean longer programs is the foundation courses are basically in the colleges, whereas the programs which are under graduation or your master's degree or anything, that is there in your universities. So in this particular situation, what we do is we see your eligibility. That is what it is. What have you scored in your 12th standard? What have you scored in your graduation? Whether we require IELTS or no, whether a foreign language is necessary or no. These are some of the fulfillments that is to be done by you. Once these are done, we see that once the fee is getting finalized, we see that what best can we reduce from him. It is not a market where we go and negotiate on the fees part. That can't be done. A fees once announced is a fees. So here what happens is, rather than this, I mean to say, go and bargaining them for any fee discount, what we do is we apply for scholarships. There are n number of series of scholarships that are there in the universities. We look at your eligibility, where which scholarship fulfills you. There is an there, I'll give only one example as of now. There is one scholarship for your graduation CGPA. Okay, so that CGPA, you if you're qualified above 7 or above 8, particularly it depends on university. I'm just giving an example. So for that there is around $1,000 or whatever it is. That is a scholarship that is allotted for you. So there is a split of amount of, for that particular criteria there is $1,000. For another criteria there is another 500. So another criteria 1,000 rupees. So somewhere or the other, when you're getting a 3,000 to $5,000 as and discount, I mean to say a scholarship amount, that amount is saved for your next semester fees, or maybe next year fees, or maybe somewhere or the other that amount is reduced in your overall fee amount. And that is a huge amount when we talk about a
Correct, correct,
particular 3,000 to 5,000 amount. What I'm telling, I mean to say, I'm talking in dollars.
correct.
So feasibly you're again saving around 3 to 4 to 5 lakh rupees, and that's a pretty good amount that is being saved.
Absolutely, sir. So you actively talk lot on scholarships, right? But then now I would very specifically start putting up the question on scholarship and want to know that how should I know that what scholarship am I eligible for, and what should I do for it?
It can't be disclosed. It is again case by case for each and every student when we applied. It can't be disclosed in this forum. One is that. Second is, somewhere or the other, when we apply, only by the university we come to know that these are some of the scholarships that can be eligible for this particular XYZ students. Only then, when once we get the letter of intent from them saying that yes, this is what is eligible and this is what is feasible, that the scholarships can be approved, then only it can be disclosed to a particular student. These are the scholarships that you have got.
So very specifically, we can say that it is more of a individual based criteria or case by case rather than an
Okay.
overview generic.
Yes, 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 100%.
So some student may be a good student or maybe the university ranker and may possibly get a higher scholarship than a person who is just passed out and want to go overseas.
That is what, Abhishek, what we tell our students is, let your letter of recommendation or your SOP be very strong. Or maybe when maybe you put in your CV to us, when we apply to an university, these three things, put lot of weightage on what you are.
Mm-hmm.
It basically represents you. So this representation of yours gets in lot of scholarships. Only because I as a consultant will not be knowing you also thoroughly, or you can't express yourself in detail whenever it is. Even when you have an interview at the last stage, the interview is very precisely with particular few set of questions.
Mm-hmm.
So there also it doesn't give you any time to disclose about yourself. What are you? So when are you disclosing about that? One is your letter of recommendation, someone is recommending you. That is one thing where you are portraying yourself. What are you? Your CV tells a lot of things, and your SOP tells everything.
Sure, sir. So just to add on a question to that, just based on your experience and the students you have worked out with, so can you give, like, let's say there are 10 people who have applied for scholarship. how many of them actually get the scholarship?
It depends on the university that you are applying. It depends on the country that you are applying. Especially when we apply for states like UK and all, it is guaranteed that you get some scholarships. But it is not the same way when you apply to US.
Okay.
It is not the same way. So here normally when we speak about disclosing anything about scholarship is also wrong. But yes, what we want to promote to students is there is scholarships available somewhere or the other, but not every university. So
Mm-hmm.
now if someone sees about this particular video or something of us and tells us that "Nahi, there is scholarship available," no, don't take it, don't take it that way. Scholarships are available, but somewhere or the other you should fit in that criteria. That is important. And the particular state that you are applying for, and a particular university that you are applying for.
So it is more of a puzzle where a lot of things have to come together, and once it fixes, that is when you are eligible for scholarship and
Absolutely,
get the
absolutely,
benefit out of that. Great,
absolutely.
great, sir. So I'll just move on to my next question. We are very much curious about our 3 years program and how long does actually like abroad courses.
Abhishek, you're lost actually.
Are you able to hear me, sir? Now?
I can hear you.
Yeah. So my question was that uh, what is the duration of the courses? So basically, does it start from 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, 2, 3 years, 2 years, 3 years, or is it? So what kind of programs or the duration of courses we have when we want to study abroad? So
As
are
you
they
told now,
short-term, mid-term, and long-term courses?
there are mid-term, short-term courses. There are your short courses that are available. There are foundation courses that are available. There are a series of programs that are available. Everything that you are telling, that everything is available in most of the universities. In most of the universities, like it is all basically when we talk, it is all on credit basis. A particular subject or a topic that we talk, everything has its own credit. Somewhere or the other you should match with the 180 credit if you are taking a MS degree, or maybe a master's degree or a MBA degree put together. You have to match with 180 credit. Most of the universities, generally I'm telling, it could be more or less,
Mm-hmm.
but generally when we talk about European countries or UK, which is today a hot bed for students to look at, 180 credit is that we look. And somewhere or the other, when you talk of when you 180 degrees here, the bachelor's degree, when we talk, that is your undergraduation, they take it 4 years program, as normally what we have here also. And when we talk about a master's degree, it is basically 1 year, 1.5 years, or 2.5 years. It depends. It depends on what particular program you are looking at. There are again vast examples attached to that. If you're looking at some programs in UK or somewhere, the MS programs, they are basically for 1 year. Similar programs that you look out for US has all the MS programs for 2 years. And simultaneously, when you look at I mean to say PhD programs, it is very difficult to get into PhD. It is very rarely. These programs are basically more than 3 years. All the PhD programs whichever are available in any of the countries, they end up for at least 3 or more than 3 years. So this is the duration that is taken. So some of these students who just want to go abroad, settle, like most of there are many students who come to me saying that I want to settle in Canada. So the way forward is I can't get into employment. I can get into only to study, that is overseas education. So they take up some of the 1 year programs, or maybe less than that, or maybe more than that, where they do a skill based program. So
Mm-hmm.
there are a lot of skill-based programs. That is, sometimes we call that as a foundation programs also, and they go there, and they settled on there itself only because they have a 2 year stay back option. So that is a different story of stay back. Let's discuss that some other time. So with this option, they go there and try to settle there.
So when we talk about, let us say, the courses duration as well, so does the same course, if I do it, let us say, from Australia or from America, does the duration changes? And then would you also want to put up some light on, let us say, the domain expertise country? For example, most of the computer science students prefer to go to US, whereas most of the mechanical engineers would like prefer to go to Germany, right? So How do the students select these countries based on their domain or the duration or the courses they want to be part of?
See, overall, when we talk about this thing, there is a mindset to everyone today that yes, when I talk about automobile, when I talk about yeah, mechanical, I should go to something about industrial production. I should go to European countries, or maybe somewhere or the other. I should look at Germany and all these countries. uh, yes, all said and done, this is all fact. But overall, similarly, when students look at a IT or a computer science, he looks at going to USA, America. So this is preferably the mindset that has been made. But today, when on a broader version, if you see most of the universities that we discuss with n number of programs, the market is everywhere today. A computer student can also have a good exposure in part of Europe, or maybe UK or Australia, to be very frank. When you talk about any of these artificial intelligence or any of the terminologies that you use in computer science, all are doing good everywhere. Simultaneously, when it comes to automobile, mechanical, or civil, uh, or anything into supply chain and everything today, which is again logistics is a big boom that people are looking forward. That also is really expanding in part of our Western countries like USA and European countries. So it is not particularly
A specific
the
country?
specific country that it is again a choice that is done from the students.
Okay. So, great, great. Thank you for that. So, my next question would be that now let us say now I have this overview idea of now which is the country I'm looking at, what is the course I'm looking out for, right? So, my next immediate question would be that now once I'm clear with the
You're
country
lost,
where I
Abhishek.
want to go, the course where I want to take up,
You're lost, Abhishek. Can't hear you.
okay. So,
Yeah.
my next question was that now once I'm clear with the country where I want to go, the course where I want to the course I want to take up, right, and all those things are sorted out. Now, when can I start applying for for the courses abroad?
Uh, that there is no timeline for that to apply. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, yes. Please
Yeah,
go ahead.
there is no particular timeline to apply for a foreign university. Basically, the intakes are for fall, and this one that is for sure. But yes, when you think of going abroad, somewhere or the other, only the thought process has to be that this will take 6 months of your time length for your processing and all. All said and done, here there is an opportunity for a 12th standard student also to go abroad and do graduation. I mean to say there are a lot of exposure courses that are available. Some of our students who thinks out of the box. Um, he wants to do something in nanoscience. Someone had come to me something asking me something on physics, specialization physics, and he was thinking of going to NASA and all this stuff. He wanted to go to America after 12th standard. So there is an opportunity at every stage of life. Maybe when I talk about 12th standard, yes, there is an opportunity to do undergraduation or a bachelor's degree. After your bachelor's degree, there is always an opportunity to do some diploma or post graduation degree, or maybe your MSc or MBA. That also is an there. Or maybe you are a brilliant student, you can still apply for a PhD if you go through. So it is not a timeline that you look
Process.
forward to apply process
So it means that I can apply throughout the 12 months,
throughout
and
the 12 months. Yes,
but
throughout
then
the
I'll
12
be only
months.
be accepted at the two times in a year, where my
Two or three times maybe.
2 or 3 times in a year,
Yeah, yeah.
and
It's
then
a fall winter are basically the children who look out. uh, can you hear me, Abhishek?
yes, yes, yes.
Uh,
Please continue.
most of our students who look at traveling is at fall and winter. These are the prominent time where our students look, only because our students gets a bachelor's degree somewhere in the month of August, and before that they start processing. and as they graduate in the month of July and August, they fly in the month of September. So it's basically a great time without losing any time in between for education.
So does it make any changes if I enroll myself in fall or winter? So is there any changes or the whole process
Our
and
whole process is all same. All
all same?
process is all same. All same. There is nothing like there will be a difference in free structure or anything. Nothing like that. Everything will be
Mhm.
same
So it's like a standard program where I can be part of it throughout the year. I can apply,
throughout the year.
and then only
Throughout the
once
year.
the process of 6 months is completed is when I can start attending it and get enrolled twice a year.
Absolutely.
Right,
Absolutely.
great. So one of the biggest question which most of the students also get is that now how should I ensure that where should I live during my stay overseas, right? Should I get a will I get a college accommodation fixed while being part of the process? Will I be promised that I'll get a facilitation from the college, or I have to start hunting down my own houses nearby the college? How should I
Normally, Abhishek, it is not that way where any student who is going here, uh, uh, we as a consultant take care of our students from the start till the end. That is the procedure from your documentation till the procedure till you fly and reach. So here, most of the consultants, especially we as a consultant, we see that once the student lands there, we do a pickup facility. We drop him to the hostel. Hostel is booked, accommodation is booked to him on a prior note on his feasibility. If he's ready to fetch more money, there is always an opportunity where he can take the small place outside the college, or there is always in the university there is an accommodation facility which is there. So it again depends on the student whether he has to look at what he wants to look in. But we are there to support at every point where he wants to get accommodated. And maybe it doesn't only end up at accommodation. Yes, also we'll try up giving him some inputs about the small time jobs also.
Mhm. So very specifically, here I would ask is that, so let us say when I'm applying to a particular university and I get an offer letter that my application has been accepted. Do they also give an offer where they give you accommodation in their own hostel?
They do give. I mean to say there is a form where all the things will be there, whether you are looking out for and sharing accommodation or a single stay. So everything will be disclosed to him
Mhm.
before he leaves from here.
Okay.
At the time of procedure, we disclose with him everything only because we need to the college or the university wants to know about his accommodation.
Mhm.
If he is looking at an accommodation outside, he has to freeze it prior only. If he is looking at an accommodation which is in the hostel or in the college premises, that will be taken care by the university only. So
Okay.
university knows about this thing that he is going to stay in house.
Mhm. But then if he's staying outside, then I think he would also have to make some documentation process prior with the tenant where he'll be staying. And,
Absolutely,
and
absolutely,
how does
absolutely.
he work on that?
Maybe somewhere or the other with some of his well-known people who might be there, or maybe we could help him guide some of the places. Or initially maybe we could normally preferably guide students saying that initially for few 1 or 2 months, see that you accommodate in the college premises or the university premises. And then
Mhm.
maybe once you don't feel well, I'm going to say, you want something feasibly want to be free, so you can still stay accommodate outside yourself. Normally what our students even in India, what they do like.
Okay, okay. So once let us say he's settled down and all those things are happening, right? So most of the students also are looking out for off-time job opportunities, right?
Yes.
Right. So how does the student take up this challenge and find out uh, what are the kind of works he can do while he's also studying his course out there?
Preferably when we guide a student with the procedure of documentations and all this, we we help him out, or maybe we guide him telling that he has to look out for a small time job once he goes abroad or once he lands, only because that is what that is what that is what will help him to earn a little bit of extra money, only because it becomes too heavy spending in INR, sending from here, and then the expenditure has to be covered on a monthly basis. So he has to look out for a small jobs. There are n number of segments that are available for small jobs. Maybe it could be a small time job, like possibly you could get in your library itself in your college, maybe somewhere or the other in a cafe,
Yes.
maybe somewhere or the other, maybe after a few months, some of your professor may recommend you for some internship where some of the companies may come in, or maybe to start immediately. Yes, there are a lot of small hotel jobs or anything that are there. You should get into something, that is important. Get into something, get into something only because that is a source of income for you to start with,
But
and
then
we
I
are
think
here to guide you.
yes. So, but I think it is not so even mandatory to work there, right? But so if you have already sorted out your expenses and other things, then I think there's no then the student can opt out of that process. Or based on your experience, how many students who have been abroad, right, are simultaneously also looking for some kind of job opportunities, right? If you could share some numbers on that.
Most of the students, in sense, we can't share the exact number or the percentage of students that are getting into this. Most of the students who get into higher education, they normally look at doing a small time job, only because it's difficult for you to kill time also at the same time. You get lot
Correct.
of time, and maybe all put together. Even the working hours is stipulated. You can only work for around 20 hours a week, so that is the prolonged timeline that you should work for these many hours a day or these many hours a week. So
So is
this
this
seems to be,
restriction is this
that is a
restriction set
restriction
by
put
the
by the
university
government.
itself?
Yeah,
Government.
that is a restriction put by the government.
Okay.
So if you are putting in more hours other than 20 hours, it's illegal. It's
Mm-hmm.
illegal. But at least if this many hours of efforts that if you put into work, 100% guaranteed you might earn more than what normally the Indians earn here. So that is a huge money that you are making up. Most of the students, they earn their this amount, and they pay fees also. I mean to say, they're coming here. I mean to say, if they take a program for 2 years or maybe more than that, this money goes into savings,
Okay. So
and the
their
fees can be accumulated.
students are paid on hourly wages. And what is the
Yes.
average hourly wages that the student can earn?
It depends again, state to state. I mean to say, it can't be preferably a fixed amount, but
Mm-hmm.
somewhere or the other, a weekly 15 to 20,000 could be a rough amount that someone could earn.
Okay, okay, great. So, thank you, sir. We have, I think, so far have set up a very, very overview of the overall working of an overseas education. Now, I would like to get with very specific with the questions very specifically to the education and the university processes. So, what is the process of applying to the university very specifically?
Applying to the universities is first, as I told you earlier also, that yes, there will be a list of documents that we will disclose to you. The list of documents with your LOR, with your SOP, has to be submitted. Your full CV. These are a set of documents that has to be applied initially. Once we apply that, the procedure begins with the university and ours, and
Mm-hmm.
then you as a student will be kept under the loop for all the procedures that are going. Somewhere or the other, when we talk about when all these documents are there, uh, we have not spoken about IELTS. IELTS is an English language test, that is a proficiency English test, which most of the English speaking countries need that. As we come from a regional country, our most of these Asian countries are all regional countries. We are not an English spoken country. When we are going abroad for higher studies, basically we will be going to the English spoken countries. So those country needs a certificate from us saying that we are certified to speak English. We need a scorecard for that. So students
Okay.
have to apply for IELTS before they apply for the university. They need to score a scorecard of above 6.5, 6.57, depends on the university requirement. IELTS certificate and other documents of yours. we apply it, and then what happens is you get a conditional offer initially, immediately, once we get into the process, if all the documents are fulfilled. Conditional is something like, yes, if any of the documents are missing or anything is needed, we get a condition saying that these documents have to be fulfilled, and then
Mm-hmm.
only your offer letter will be released. So now offer letter is still not released to me, only the conditional offer is released. Now what happens is, when I submit the pending document also, I get an unconditional offer.
Okay.
Unconditional offer is there are no conditions now. So
Mm-hmm.
you have submitted all the documents, and this is what is the offer letter that we are sending you. This is what it is, and now we can proceed with the fees. So overall, when we talk about a procedure, it is a too lengthy. It can't be described in words like this is the process that has
Okay.
to be put in on a table. It just goes on one after the other, and then the fees comes after that. The fees, once the fees is transferred, then there is a visa procedure that happens, and there has to be visa amount, fees or something has to be paid for that, and that option has to be taken for you. Where are you going for a visa? Are you traveling to Mumbai, Chennai, or any other place? So
Okay.
where there
Okay.
is embassy. So these
Great.
are the procedures. I mean to say, it goes on.
Mm-hmm. Great. So, coming to the next question, sir. So, we have now very specific talk about the process, overall process of how the university stuff, right? But then I feel there are a lot of entry requirements to be accepted in the courses as well. So, are there any requirements that to be part of this specific course, then these are the set of requirements you should have? And then a first question, and then followed by a question that if you could also throw us some light between JRE and IELTS, how are these different from each other, and how should a student decide that what should he choose and why should he choose that?
Um, the answer to the first question is, it depends on the stipulated what specialization that you are looking out for. And
Mhm.
only you come up with saying that yes, I am a mechanical student, engineering student, but I want to change from mechanical to something else only because now that mechanical is not doing good.
Okay.
This is a vision thought by you as a student who comes in. Then what can we give him? Can we give him something? Can he change his focus from mechanical to something into engineering management? Yes, that is available that he can do. Something can he do into supply chain management, where basically he is doing a back end work, but similarly based on SAP, that is there. That is there. So it is again related on the student's expectation, that what he wants, that can be merged and made a tailor made program for each and every student, case by case again,
Okay.
separately.
Okay.
Second question of yours is, when I talk about GRE or when I talk about IELTS, these both are two different things. It is not at all related. When I talk about going to America, I need GRE, not to all but few universities, even that is getting reduced day by day. So GRE is basically a graduate record test, where some of the universities normally look at this particular scorecard. This score is out of 600, so you need to score on that, and then you get into a particular university. That is you need to get trained here itself, and write the exam here itself, GRE, and then you apply for a particular university. Same procedure, but as I told you, but when we apply, we need your GRE records also to
Okay.
proceed further. Simultaneously, again, when I'm talking about going to English spoken countries, I need IELTS or TOEFL. TOEFL is basically not much observed today. Again, somewhere
Mm-hmm.
or the other, IELTS is accepted everywhere. It is basically from the Australia IDP. So IELTS is again, like, you have to get trained yourself domestically here, I mean to say, somewhere in India, appear for the exam here, get the scorecard of that. In the list of your documents, see that if at all they are asking for GRE, if they are asking for your IELTS, if they are asking for your German or any of your foreign language, all these sets of documents have to be there. When I talk about GRE or IELTS or any foreign certificate is mostly related to some of the countries of France, Italy, and German, where these people see that you know the local language from there, at least at the rate of AE or A2. Is a
Mm-hmm.
must. A2 is at least a must, only because that gets clarified from them, that you are aware with the foreign language and you can be approved with the visa.
Okay. So now I have a bit controversial question, sir, but I still want you to answer that. That what if one doesn't have the minimum entry qualifications? What if I have flunked my what if I have flunked my final year, one or two subjects are failed, right? And then I don't meet the minimum qualifications, right? Now what
Uh,
do I do now? Is it that
you
only I clear and then go, or how do I work about it?
you need to clear and go. That is one thing. Somewhere or the other, your backlogs are all your baggage. So you need to clear your baggage, your backlogs. Only then you can go ahead. There are I shouldn't disclose, but there are some universities or some states, especially when I talk about Canada and all, when you have a number of backlogs with you and you have a good CGPA, even then Canada doesn't take you only because you had a lot of backlogs.
Okay.
So similarly, you have backlogs, you are getting cleared, and say you are applying for some other state, I mean, to some other countries. Doesn't matter. You can still apply for those.
Hmm.
Even if you are carrying forward your backlogs, you can still apply. It depends on again university to university. It can't be the same law to each and every university. They have their own what restrictions to themselves.
So it's always preferred that you have a clean degree certificate,
Always,
and then you go,
always,
right?
always,
And
always,
then if
always,
you have
always.
some backlogs, or even if you have cleared it and you had backlogs, that can become a hurdle even in accepting your applications.
Yes, yes. Even your 12th standard English score could be an hurdle for you. To be very
Okay.
frank, not only your backlogs, but even your 12th grade English score could also be a hurdle. You want to go to in some in UK, you need to have at least more than 75% in your English subject.
Okay.
It becomes a gateway for you. Without IELTS you can get your admission. So these are some of the things which we as a counselor will give you, will bridge the gap between the best that we can give you, services that we can give you.
Okay. So when you talk about the basic qualifications also, sir, how does, let us say, a diploma degree holder and an engineering degree holder, are they treated same way or it is treated different way? Because in India you have various processes of degrees, right? It is a three years degree, 4 years degree, 5 years degree, and all those things, right? Various degrees. All the streams.
Abhishek, you're lost. You were not there last 10 seconds.
Okay. So when we talk about entry qualifications, right, in India, there are various sets of degrees. It may be a 2 years degree, 3 years degree, or 4 years degree, right? So all this degree is treated as a standard, or a diploma student is a diploma student's degree is treated separately than engineering degree.
Yeah, it is simultaneously the same as what India graduates people. I mean, to say the system graduates here. It is all the same system even there. Even there, a graduation is the undergraduation for your arts, commerce is again a different criteria, and your engineering is a different criteria. It depends. When I talk about engineering, when you do a undergraduate or a bachelor's degree in engineering, there is a lot of practical that is getting involved. I mean, it's a lot of your assignments,
Correct.
your projects, your internals. So these are always these are even there. I mean, not only it is here, but even it is there abroad when you go for higher studies. But
Mm-hmm.
it again varies how you take these challenges, how much you are committed to each and everything. It doesn't matter whether you are going for a 2 year program or a 4 year program or a 1 year program. It
Mm-hmm.
depends in what program you get involved and how is that.
Okay. Okay. Great. Great. Thank you, sir. So now let us say we have reached out to a university. Already, I have now have done my admission. Okay. Now, is there a possibility where I want to change my majors now? So before going, I thought that I wanted to very much enroll into artificial intelligence majors, but then I thought this is not working out for me, and I want to go into humanities as my major, right? And if you see, there's a whole shift which is happening into my major decision making in the whole process of learning, right? And now I have already landed into the university, right? Is it
And now
possible
you
I
are
can
to,
change it now?
you have all the possibility to change your major subjects. only because earlier what you had thought and you have come, you need a some change that can be done. But again, coming back to the credits which I was just speaking about, some of the major subjects carry 60 credits, some of the major subjects carry 80 credits. So here the important aspect is whether your major subject is of that many credit and that it matches the 180 points of, I mean to say, 180 total as a credit. So it has to
Okay.
match with that particular credit. If your XY is about is of 60 credit and you are taking AB which is again 60 credit, that matches, you can
Mhm.
change another and you can go into that.
Okay. So can I start doing it immediately, or for that I have to wait a time period
You have to take
something
a
complete?
approval, you have to take an approval from the university. So there is a procedure for that.
So it means I'll have a gap of, let us say, that duration till I start my next.
A very less duration, very less duration, very less duration. Not like months together or weeks together. It will get processed as early as possible.
But I think the biggest yes to here is that even if I make wrong decisions in terms of selecting my majors here, there is a high possibility. I mean, there is possibility where I can change it and get things right. Whereas
Yeah,
if you see in India today, if we are getting into some degree college and we see that we want to become a computer science engineer, and at the second year we want to say that no, I want to change it now to things, they're still possible, but then very minimal chances. So what
very
are the
minimal
chances of,
chances.
let us say, changing? Is it 100%, or it is again what you can say individual basis?
It's basically 100% only because some of the countries, in some of the universities or some of the colleges are tied up with other colleges also or few courses.
Mm-hmm.
So here, if that particular college doesn't have the specialization or the major subject that you're looking out, internally you can get associated to another college which they are associated,
Okay.
and they work on your documentation part and process your document with that XYZ college, and you get admitted for that particular major subject through them. So you
Mm-hmm.
certify from them, but but the but the procedure. Can you hear me, Abhishek?
Yeah, continue.
Yeah, but somewhere or the other, when you get certified, you certified from the the primary college that you have admitted to.
Okay, so do I also need to pay something more in order to get all this procedure done, or it is already with the fees I've already paid?
Whatever you have paid, it works on that only. You will not be paying any additional for that.
Okay, okay. So right.
You're lost, Abhishek. We are lost with you. We are lost.
I'm audible, sir, now?
Yeah, you're audible now.
Okay, great. Okay. So we have heard a keyword says as financial aid packages, right? Where a lot of universities have it their website that which say that we provide financial aid packages, right? So now, first I want to know is that what are these financial aid packages, right? How it is different from scholarships, and how can one apply for a financial aid?
Financial aid is basically and loan basically when we talk about on a,
Mhm.
if I have to talk on a this one basic then that is nothing but it's a loan that we are taking, that is a financial aid. University will not be doing anything for us. Can you hear me, Abhishek?
I can hear you, sir. Please go ahead.
Yeah, okay. Financial aids will not be provided by any of the universities or anything. In terms of financial aid or in terms of scholarships, fellowships, or grants, SFG, what we call, that is only the aid that we get from most of the colleges and universities. But overall educational aid that if you are looking out for at the time of living, the education loan that you take, that is the basic financial aid that you will be providing from the Indian government here.
Okay, so basically it is purely in-house. Let's say you, if you are not able to invest it from your own pocket, it's like you go to a bank, get a loan, and that is basically is what we are talking about financial aid.
Absolute, yes, yes. In
Right?
clear words, as a layman's language, I'm telling you,
Okay.
this is what basically happens. Lot
Okay.
of people come saying to me that, sir, I had gone through this website and all. I have seen lot of financial aids and all. On a broader version, when you talk about financial aid, इसका मतलब बहुत बड़ा है. It's too big as a
Mm-hmm.
terminology of a financial aid.
Correct.
On a smaller terminology of a financial aid, I can talk about scholarships. What is a scholarship? It is a given bits and pieces. It is basically an R&R. It's a reward and recognition that is been given to you. Why that is
Mm-hmm.
been given? Only because you are outclassed in
Correct.
everything.
Correct.
But that aid or this, it has to be sourced by yourself.
Okay. So I mean, even before going to the university and for paying the fees, I can apply to my nearby, let us say, SBI Bank, HDFC banks. It's basically a loan I can apply,
Absolutely,
and
absolutely,
then that will
absolutely.
help me with the overall fees. So overall fees for my further education.
Yeah. What does the university do is they give you a recommendation letter from there. I'm to say loan
Mm-hmm.
recommendation letter where you will get the detailed fee structure.
Okay.
Detailed fee structure in sense, what is the split amount that is there as fees. One is
Mm-hmm.
that. What is your living cost?
Okay.
What are your miscellaneous costs that is incurred at the time of traveling? Your travel cost, your airfare, I mean to say, everything is calculated and then sanctioned you. If I put it like that, that if your
Just
fees is
repeat.
around
If you could just repeat last 20 seconds, sir. Yeah, that would be
yeah,
great.
the fees is, you get a recommendation letter from the university itself. There
Mm-hmm.
is a split of fees letter that comes from the university.
Okay.
Each and every fee is been splitted. How does this amount is calculated? What is
Mm-hmm.
your living cost? What could be your recurring cost?
Mm-hmm.
What are your airfare? Everything you'll get it as a letter of as a letter from the university. That letter helps you get a loan from the particular bank.
Okay.
And then as per the procedure of Indian, through the Indian government, through the center of immigration, the procedure is that yes, if the loan is around 50, I mean to say the fees is around 15 lakhs per year. Fees is around 15 lakhs. 50% of that amount is your living cost. Just understand,
Okay.
7.5 lakh is your living cost. So other than that, what the bank does is 15 lakhs is your fee amount plus 7.5 lakh. That is your living cost. Put together is 22.5 lakhs. Additional two and a half lakh for your travel, your computer and other accessories. Another 2.5 to 3 lakh depends on the bank manager, and your proceedings with him. That particular amount is released, maybe 25.5 or 26 lakhs is the overall amount that is released for you.
Okay.
So once the fees is paid, for example, you are paying one full term fee. A term fee is basically 12 months. That is 1 year. That is called as a term fee. When you
Mm-hmm.
pay a term fee, what the bank does is once the receipt is got from the university, the bank releases that particular amount directly to the university. It doesn't come in your hand.
Okay.
So the balance amount is still there in your account. I'm going to say
Uh-huh.
in a suspense account. Once
Mm-hmm.
you go there, you show a ticket receipt or anything. Again, your partial amount is released.
Okay.
If you take a laptop or anything that is as an accessories or anything, you are again released with a partial amount. Once you go there, you have taken a flat there, sharing flat where you have to give some $500 as a deposit or something. Once you send that receipt, email that receipt to the bank, that partial amount is released. So
Okay.
understand here, the whole amount is released as a loan, education loan.
Okay. So when we talk about this education loan, sir, in India, for example, if you are taking any degree, right? So a lot of various banks has various percentage of loans, right? So and some of the banks also give free education loan, right? So you enroll into your engineering, complete your 3 years, and then you also get a 1 year of extension period, and then you start repaying the loan, right? So is the process same for overseas education as well, or it is like you take the loan and then the interest starts right from the next month from where you are taking the loan, the EMIs part?
It depends here, and I mean to say I don't want to disclose most of the things here when it comes to loan, only
Mm-hmm.
because it's a very big, heavy amount of loan that is being sanctioned by the bank. Here depends on a particular bank that you are banking with. Maybe somewhere or the other, when we talk about this education loan, the interest may start immediately, or maybe on some parameters with some other bank laws. what happens here is once you complete your education, after that your loan and interest amount starts.
Okay, so
It
we
depends
just
on a
lost you for
particular.
last 20 seconds, sir. If you could just repeat.
Yeah, see, it depends. Actually, I can't disclose most of the things when we
Mhm.
talk about a loan or financial law. Here,
Okay.
what happens is it's basically an education loan provided by a bank,
Mm-hmm.
and it depends on the bank whether they have to charge interest from day one, or maybe after education is taken by the particular bank.
Okay.
Basically, at times it is also given as a collateral also when your accounts don't fulfill. So it
Mm-hmm.
depends. I mean to say, I don't know to discuss most of the things, but
Okay.
yes, there are education loan for abroad education that is available.
But then we
Market
do
is
get
big and market is available for
but we
that.
do get loans if you want to
We
go
do
ahead.
get, we do get, we do get, we do get.
Okay. Okay. Great.
Only because the letters what we get from universities are very strong.
Okay. So basically, that also acts as an evidence and the supporting stuff for you to get the loan approved as
Get
well.
the loan approval. Yeah,
Great, great. Okay. So, sir, as we said, we are talking about money now and all the financial stuffs. So, while visa processing, right? While we are going and getting visas, right? We need to show them a financial sheet, right? That how much
yeah.
money. So, my specific question is, how much money do I need to show at the time of visa?
It
And if you
can't be.
could share some ideas on how the whole visa process is, and how much money I need to show in my statement.
Visa process is basically at the time there is no upper limit for that basically of any
Okay.
amount or funds. It is basically the fee amount that is there has to be there in your bank account. One is that at the time of that you take a statement. So that is what is the statement that the at the time of visa the documentation is being seen. It again depends on country to country that you are applying. It
Mm-hmm.
again depends on the country to company you are applying. So if you are applying for a state like Canada or USA, you need to have that 100% of your amount in your bank
So it means
to
if I have a
showcase.
50 lakh rupees as my overall expenditure, I need to have 50 lakh rupees in my account.
You take a loan, that amount is credited, that statement is removed, it is been applied. Okay, I mean to
Mm-hmm.
say it is applied to the university or the visa. That is
Okay.
that is one thing. Simultaneously, the second option is somewhere or the other. Some of these countries, some other countries and some other universities, they only look at a particular 50% of the amount, only amount, and the living cost also,
Okay.
whether that is available there with you or not. So it
Mm-hmm.
again, these are some of the things which doesn't have any particular upper limit or the fund that has to be there in your bank, not
Mm-hmm.
necessary to cover your expenses and everything, but somewhere or the other, yes, by case and a particular state, particular university, we do guide our students how much a particular fund has to be there for that particular period where we have to take a statement. We will guide you that on that basis. But
Okay.
it's again case on case, depends on the country. It varies a lot.
So once we are there and we have got a student visa, I think there are different kinds of visa.
Yeah.
The work visa,
You're
right?
lost, Abhishek, in
Okay.
between.
I'm audible now.
Sorry. Yeah, audible now.
Okay, so when we're talking about visa processes, right? So the student, I feel, when he's enrolling into a university or a college, he's probably getting a student visa, right?
Student, absolutely.
And after he completes his learning process, he also wants to work, right? Because most of the students who go abroad want to stay there maybe for 5 years, 10 years, right? And then how does will this visa will still be valid there? So after completing the education, how many years they give you where you can stay back, you can have job, and then let us say I want to settle down there, there as well, right? So how does this process in the visa should the student take care of?
See, when once we apply for a particular university or a particular country, here the stay back option is basically for 2 years or 3 years, not more than that. Stay back option is after your completion. So students enroll uh, I mean to say at the for their education now, maybe if they are doing a 2 years program, they finish 2 years. Once they finish the 2 years, the stay for the stay back option, they are working. Their student visa gets converted to a working visa for next
Automatically.
particular two three, yeah, for next 2 3 years or whatever is the timeline for that stay back option is been given. And once you are for that particular organization and where even that visa gets over, that with that particular XYZ organization that you are working, the visa gets converted to a particular working visa, whatever is there. It depends on US gives you a number of series of working visas. Canada gives you a series of working visas. Maybe it is a PR or maybe other time being visas. Europe gives you another types of visas. So initially when you go on a student visa.
Mm-hmm.
Once you complete your course and you do a full time job, there the visa is converted to a work visa,
Okay.
and that work visa will be for that particular stay back period.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So after this 3 years, 2 years, 3 years of the what is the stay back period we have, and then if you still want to continue, how do we get that? Do we still have that opportunity to extend that visa?
Absolutely, we do have that only because you are a full time employee of an expert organization.
Mm-hmm.
So that letter from that organization or the offer letter and everything pushes you for an extension of visa.
Sure, sure, sir. I think we have already covered almost everything now. But then now let us say immediately now I'm graduating now. What are the basic documents, right? I need to get things ready, right? So that to make an application maybe in the upcoming fall or summer.
uh, your basic applications are again maybe your address proof, your photo ID. That is what you are asking, if I'm not wrong.
Yes, 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 yes.
Huh? So these are the basic documents. Your 12th standard marks card. If you are going for your MS or MBA, your bachelor's degree certificates, your LOR, your SOP. A list of documents have to be accumulated with your full CV.
Mm-hmm.
Any of your projects that you have done, any recommendation letters that you are having, any R&R letters that you are having, these are some of the letters that will help you get some of the scholarships and other things. So this is a list of documents that we normally ask for each and every students. So when you once you apply, once we are applying on behalf of a student, these are the list of documents at one time we see that we apply. That is what, as a consultant, we see that you never get an conditional offer letter, but we look at more at unconditional offer letter that you receive.
Okay, great, great, sir. So I think we are already coming to the end of the session, sir, today. But then there is one last question which I would like to ask you, right? Right. Is there anything else you would like to add, which I think you think that I have missed it out?
Uh, I mean to say we covered almost everything. It again depends on student to student. Most of the things, whatever we thought could be more on a general aspects. But yes, to be very frank, as this session is going on and has war is also in progress in Ukraine, and we saw a number of students coming out. All my students who are watching this will be watching this in future. Be very particular that go through a handbook of your I mean to say our government, that is Minister of External Affairs, has released there is a booklet which has been released online, something called as India Center of Migration, where you will get a detailed version on how to stay back there and how to get connected with the central government in any form. See, now what happened is similarly, most of the people don't know how could you catch hold these students. So with all this technology, there is a system where we could track the students where they are. Only
Correct.
with the Indian embassy being there so strong, I'm going to say most of the embassies today in each and every country, there is the whole team of an embassy, that is the Minister of External Affairs, are getting stronger day by day, getting connected to people who are there. And this is one of the basic general knowledge today, with this experience of Ukraine, that we need to know from the Indian government, that India Center of Migration, what is it all about. It something says from your pre-departure till the end process, till you come back or maybe proceed there also. Be connected with the central government or the Minister of External Affairs, Center of Immigration. You understand everything, what is happening, and you get updated on that on a daily basis. So this is one thing. Normally, most of our students are not. I mean, awareness is not given. I mean to say, somewhere or the other. Henceforth, whenever we counsel, we need to have a session on this also, so that it helps our students going abroad. You're lost, Abhishek.
Yes. Yes, sir.
You're lost. Sorry.
How about now?
Yeah, I can hear. We
Yeah.
can hear.
So I would like to end this session with one last question. Should I do this procedure on my own, or I should reach out to a consultancy who can help me do it?
Abhishek, you're lost. I just come back again. Sorry, you're lost.
How about now, sir? Now it's
Okay,
fine?
you're audible, audible, audible.
Great, great. Okay. Maybe to the end of the session, the technology is also giving up with us. So, my last question before concluding was that as a student, right, should I do these procedures on all my own, or is it always better to reach out to a consultancy who are already into this? So, because I can do it always on my own as well by reaching out websites, reading everything, and starting applying on my own. On the other way is having a consultancy, right? So what would you prefer would be helpful? And then
Uh,
if I'm saying about consultancy, there is also a cost associated with that, right? Now what is that cost, right? And what
uh,
would you prefer?
somewhere
What are
or
the
the other, I always,
suggestions to take it forward?
somewhere or the other, I as a consultant, I always see that people should go through a consultancy only because there are n number of series of things that are there in between your procedure. So what happens here is, none of your YouTubes or your general knowledge from a social media gives you a thorough knowledge on applying for a university. Maybe the website tells you the whole story, but somewhere or the other, when it comes to a consultancy or a consultant like me, who counsels you in detail and understands about you and then tries to apply, there are a lot of hidden things which basically you will not be knowing. There are some consultants uh, who are representing the universities. So these are some of the consultants where maybe possibility you may get in contact personally.
Okay.
But when you do it on your own, it's a difficult task for you to get connected with the individuals. So
Mm-hmm.
here, what happens? You are applying through us. On behalf of us as a consultant, you always have the Minister of External Affairs that I told you, the Center of Migration, where they will recommend where they will recommend us as a consultant. One is that, and then somewhere or the other, the guidance that is been released by the Center of Migration, that is the Minister of External Affairs, we follow the same rules and regulations when we apply for the foreign education, and we see that it has been fulfilled from by every aspects to the government. So
Okay.
so when you apply individually, what happens here is, uh, when something misses out, you get stuck in between, and it is very difficult for small things. I'll tell you one example. Students, many students, they come only for visa purpose, everything they have done, but they can't process with the visa now. They are stuck somewhere in between, or they get stuck up with the transfer of fee.
Mm-hmm.
So that amount that is being told in the website, they try to just transfer that amount genuinely.
Okay.
And now when it is that amount seems to be a little bit the bigger amount, they get feared whether I have to do that or no, whether that university is existing or no.
Correct.
These are the some of the questions that always arise to a student when you do independently. We
Correct.
as a consultant are associated with the universities.
Mm-hmm.
The university representatives are associated with us.
Okay.
So sometime, not sometime, most of the time, all these representatives from the foreign universities or the representatives from India, They have a webinar session now as the technology is available, and we always invite you people. 6 months down the line is a too lengthy period for an application procedure, and in this 6 months or maybe 3 months period, always these people have an webinar or any session where you will be a part of that, and you will understand. We as a consultant have invited you, and we represent you in applying your applications. So
Correct.
you have your questions can be fulfilled to a particular university representing person.
Absolutely, sir. But then I feel there is also a cost associated with the consultancy fees. So can you give me what is an average cost of consultancy charges in order to get the overall process done?
It
Is it
depends.
like
It
1 lakh, 2 lakh rupees they charge to get the overall process done?
No, that's a very big amount. What you are telling, this is what we don't charge. These are the fees that are the universities. When you apply for a particular university, there is a fee for the application charges.
Mm-hmm.
The application charge fee is a different fee. The consultancy fee is a different fee. Basically, a consultant charges you 10 to 20,000 rupees, depends on a particular university. Again, case to case. But
Okay.
yes, when it comes to application of a university, most of the universities, 70% of the universities, they don't charge for application fees.
Okay.
Whoever charges, it has been disclosed on the website, and we also let you know that yes, for any of the particular university there is an application fee.
Mm-hmm.
So you can also think it somewhere like, these are the top rated colleges or something where we are applying, where you are feasibly the right fit, and then maybe yes, maybe those particular university are charging xyz amount. Yes, we need to pay it from you.
Okay. Right.
So there is
I
a
think
difference
this.
between the university fee amount and the consultancy fee amount. So it
So
varies a lot.
so I
What
think
are the consultancy fees is what we charge. Why do we charge is for all these services we are charging you some feasible amount.
correct. Correct. So I think 15, 20,000 is a very less amount, right? I think it's always better to invest 20,000 rupees in order to reduce the risk
Absolutely,
of 20 lakh or 50 lakh rupees, because once you transfer
absolutely,
and you know that the university doesn't exist anymore, right? And then
absolutely,
you feel paralyzed and you can't do anything about it,
absolutely,
right?
absolutely.
So great, sir. Thank you. It was a great session. I think a lot of our people who will be watching this would have a lot of valuables, and they can always put out message their queries in the comment box, so that we can get in touch with them and help them or resolve any of their issues. And I think sir will be very much glad to he personally reply to all the queries as
Yeah,
well, right?
yeah.
So thank you very much, sir, for
Thank
being
you.
part of BrightBee session. And then we hope uh, you and as well as most of the students who will be part of this session would benefit and will be able to make better decisions in their overseas education.
Thanks, Abhishek. Thanks a lot for inviting it, for this session, and looking forward to a number of sessions like this where our students get lot of exposure from this and can go ahead for higher studies. All the best. Thank you.